Okay, good. Looks like it is working. Sometimes I have a problem with how my laptop works. This is my laptop's. See, you can see I can flip it up and down and all that. Um, the reason I'm going live today is because one thing that's been on my mind for a while is and this is it's not for a while. It's been years. Uh, and it's about communication and conversation. So when you're like when like me, I don't try to control the conversation, right? That's the bottom line. Um, and the thing is, like, when I've um had new friends or my brother or sister, or family members, if we can't, like, uh like, have a conversation, which is communication, right? If it's always going to be about one person, then I'm like, okay, well, then I'll listen to you, and then I'll say, okay, well, then I can understand where you're coming from. And that's what this is what this live is about. It's about conversation and communication. And that's not just friends, that's family. That's your it's even within yourself. Like, if you have to let something out, let it out to somebody that you love or somebody that might listen, but always listen back to what they say, with especially with no anger, and just say, well, I just disagree with you, that's if it goes to that point, right? Which it has for me sometimes, and that's cool. I mean, that's cool. I mean, the greatest thing about your own thoughts, or not my own thoughts, but people's experience in life, is you don't have to agree with everything that everyone says, and I got away from a lot of that. And as everyone that whoever listens to these lives and knows that, I've been I mean, when I first started talking about flat earth, which I'm not a flat earther. I mean, I don't believe that we live on a ball, right? But when you start talking about something and they don't agree with you, then get away from it. Doesn't matter. If I don't agree with you, I'm not necessarily going to get away from it. It's about communication. And um I think I did a 2-hour live stream, which I wasn't planning on it. And someone came in, and I can't remember that user's name, and she asked to I guess this is why I'm doing it. She asked to have my face I deleted my Facebook, and she wanted to do a WhatsApp, and we did talk, right? And um but see, I don't want to expose her. She knows who she is. If she unsub my channel, that's cool, because um I we were talking, and we were talking about a lot of truth, but she went on for I was thinking, like, I wanted to react to some of the things that she was saying, but she wouldn't let me, because I was waiting for, like, this break, right? This pause, so to speak, but she wouldn't stop. At some point, I just thought, I thought, let's see how long she goes without me saying anything. And she knows we're like not on the on the phone, right? But we are talking live. And she went on for 2 hours. She went on for 2 hours without me saying anything. So that means she didn't even care what my thoughts are. And I was like, at some point, I was like, why did you even want to talk to me? She asked for WhatsApp, and then I said, okay, let's go on FaceTime or Facebook, and then do the messenger calling thing. And that's where we went. And I was like, cool. And you know, but if you want to have a conversation with someone and you request it, let's have a conversation. Don't go on for 2 hours. I don't want to go on for 2 hours on my own live stream unless I have some new content. And I brought out a lot of content. And uh the thing for me is, like, I mean, if you want to talk about things that I already know, that I researched or heard about somebody else, other real truthers, and I'll say real truthers because real truthers don't ask for money for their truth unless you go to church, right? If you go to church, what that then that's your truth. You're paying what? You're paying God? No, you're paying the church for their truth and what you believe is your truth. It's the same concept. It's the same concept. It, real truth, flat earthers that I've met in real person, in real life, in person, they requested money from me, which I frickin' I don't want to swear, but I frickin' did donate hundreds of dollars. And it was disgusting, for me when I thought I became friends with them, they still requested more money. And I was like, this is some bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to cuss, but it's heartbreaking for me that that happened to me. So be careful with that. And this sort of, it does connect with communication and conversation, because if you communicate well with someone and you say we're friends, why are you asking me for money? Do you really need it? No, you want it. That's it. That's all it was. So don't fall for these people that uh and I deleted a lot of these people. Um I'll expose some of them. Um Roxanne Glenn, um um Dolly Daydream, um that flat fellow. That was the biggest one because I thought we were friends, man. I thought we were friends. And I went to the stupid Flattoberfest, and it was uh, I mean, I was it cost me over $2,000 to go there. I rented a car, right? I rented a car and drove there because it was during the PSYOP, the psychological operation of the COVID, and you couldn't really fly, right? or I couldn't fly. I wanted to fly, but it was like, well, you need to wear a mask and take vaccines and take the jab and all that. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that, man. So I eventually drove there, and it cost me. I rented a hotel for 3 days. I had to buy food and all that to eat and all that, and um, the gas and all that. It was crazy, man. And when I went there, I met that flat fellow, and I actually um he asked me on a Discord. So I've been in this truth community or flat earth, whatever you want to call it, non no ball earth believer for a long time, and he asked me to translate his um, pamphlet about flat Earth, and he sent me the document that he wanted me to do. So I did it, and I did it in Spanish because I speak very very well very good Spanish, and that cost me like $150, I think, at that time. Um, and I did about 100 pamphlets or something, or 100, something like that. And I gave a speech because they had a mic on at some point, and I drove my car to a point where I haven't gone this far before. Uh, I drove my or the rented car to to the location that they were speaking out about this. And eventually I asked to speak on the mic, and they let me. So I was like, okay, well, um, I basically just said, this is, I'm glad I'm here, and, just made it basic. And, uh, and I said, well, you know, this is flat Earth information, and if you don't speak English, this is in Spanish as well. So I said, this is free information. So I wasn't asking for any money, right? I was not asking for any money. I put it on the table. I put it, uh, it was some sort of table that was in the middle of the area of where people were speaking. And I said, well, it's free if you want to take it. And I was speaking kindly. I'm just remembering what happened at that time. And then that flat fellow, which his name is Tommy, which I got his number. I don't have that was an old number that I had, but I gave him. We exchanged numbers, and he texted me and said, "Thank you. I took those pamphlets." So I did it for him and his cause, because I don't know if he is part of. I know he's friends with Karen B, which is, to me, it's horrible, because Karen B, I met her, and she is an arrogant person. I met her in person, and she got in my face because I had a camera, right? I had a camera. I was filming everything for myself, basically. And she came up right into my face. Why are you getting into people's faces? And this is another thing I want to say. Why are you scared of a camera? You go live all the time. I'm here live right now, and I'm talking about whatever I want to feel like talking about. If you don't like it, don't like it. It's okay. I don't have to like everything that everyone else likes. Otherwise, it would be a cult, right? So, um, and that's part of like the whole conversation and communication. Because if you break down that communication and conversation, it can go just awful. It can go south or no, whatever. It can go bad. It can go bad. I'll say it that way. Um, or it can go really well. Uh, that's kind of why I like being single because um I'm not sure where other uh people are gonna go or where they're from or not where they're from as far as um region or country or anything like that. It's about where they're from as far as their journey for truth. For me, I've been through a lot, and I've already talked about "Behold a Pale Horse" and all the Freemasonry and the tyranny that the government government causes for people, and that's why they call it. You know, they're mocking us. People don't see the words, the word and the breakdown in that word. Govern to control your meant to control govern your meant govern meant. Think about that. That's why I stopped voting long time ago. And I've been on a lot of live streams and talked about this, and there's so many people that understand it. And some people are like, oh, well, you're against Trump, or you're against Biden, or you're against whoever. And I'm like, I'm not political. I'm trying to teach you, I'm trying to get you to understand the journey that I've been through. And it's crazy, man. And, it's crazy how, you know, one other thing I wanted to talk about was the educational system. Like, I've been through the educational system, uh, and it was troubling. It was troubling. It was good and bad at the same time because some people can't get out of it, can't get out of that indoctrination, the indoctrination of believing everything that you hear. It's just like watching the news. It's like watching the news, like, Trump is on he did this or whatever. And they say, just like when COVID happened, oh, people are dying everywhere. Well, people are still dying. I'm alive. I'm glad to be alive. But it was never COVID. I had my appendix taken out like about a month and a half, 2 months ago, right? And it was my time to take. I've had it was just that time for my appendix to be taken out. And I remember a cousin had his taken out when he was younger, and I asked the nurses and the doctors, I'm like, why is my appendix taken out? And they were like, there's babies or kids that get their appendix taken out. And scientifically, it's like they tell us that I don't know. I don't I'm not a medic or anything. I know how to do CPR and all that, but the appendix, I guess, is irrelevant to your body for whatever reason. But it got taken out. I had a pain in my right side, and I thought, I was like, man, I wasn't working out that hard uh, um, to feel pain in that side. And then it happened like 2, 3 days later. I was like, I have to go to the hospital. I don't know what's going on. And then they did surgery on me to take it out. And I hate going to the hospital, by the way. Uh, but it wasn't because of COVID. So that's my. I'm just trying to explain to you about COVID because um, from from what I've heard, doctors get at that time when COVID was hardcore. I I heard. I'm sorry. I watched YouTube channels, and maybe some of them are true. Some of them are not. But doctors got paid to to document that it was COVID when it was something else. What actually it was something else. And I think it was like 13,000, 14, whatever it was. And um, it's you know that this is why I sort of really love to watch um First Amendment auditors, because a lot of them know this, and I've heard them talk about it, but they don't talk about it because they're filming, right? And they're filming in public, in post offices, government systems, court, courthouses, police, uh, lobbies, and all that. And I I remember, I'm not gonna, I can't remember that. I know that channel, but I'm not gonna put it on there. But they actually interviewed a guy, and he said he was like some sort of scientific person that understands that the masks that were provided by what, grocery stores, they're not medically able to uh provide you that uh protection, right, for some sort of pandemic, that dangerous virus. It even says it underneath the box that you buy. If you buy a box, it says it's not medically certified for it, or something like that, right? So, and so it's it's crazy how people fell for this. And and it was a worldwide earth world. When I mean worldwide, it means this earth that we live in, right? It was a worldwide psychological operation, a psyop, to force people to wear a mask. And then people protested for it, and a lot of people went to jail for it. And so um that time period was crazy, man. And okay, so I used to work at Amazon. Now I'm switching the conversation, or the topic here. I worked at Amazon for about almost 2 years, and this is like before and during the pandemic. and we were forced to wear a mask because if you didn't, we I needed to get paid, right? So I fucking did it, right? And one of the things that happened was they created like this vest for someone to control other people to force them to wear a mask. What was it called? Um, um, Something Challenger. I can't remember the name, but it was like a red vest, like your security for people to wear a mask and to to stay 6 feet apart, right? And that's the control system that happened. Now think about that number. I'm 5'7", right? I'm being honest with you. I'm actually 5'7.5", whatever. Whatever. Think about that number. 6 feet apart. Who creates that number? Doctors don't do it. Doctors get right close to me when they need to. 666. That's what that number means. It's a satanic number, but people can't see it. People couldn't see it. Maybe they could, but they didn't care. That's what that whole psyop was all about. That's what Freemasonry is all about, and the Illuminati is about. They're satanic, man. When they get to that 33 degree or higher, they use their power to control the system. I used to have a dollar. I think I still have a dollar. Hold on. Okay. Well, I lost that dollar bill. Hold on. That dollar bill on the back of it uh is the pyramid, right? And the all seeing eye, right? The all seeing eye, the pyramid, right? And the all seeing eye, the next level is the next highest person or people, and then the lower person. As low as you go, those are the hardest working people to keep the all seeing eye rich and in control. That's what Freemasonry and the Illuminati is all about. So if people don't understand it, look into it. I've done it for years, man. And the first time I did it, the first time I heard about it, I couldn't believe it. I had a college friend who said, "Hey, read this book. It's called Behold a Pale Horse." And I was like, "What the hell is that?" Right? Or I don't want to use the word hell, but what is that? And he's like, just he didn't even say anything else. He just said, "Okay, there's a store that I know of. Go there, buy it, and then read it." And when I was in college, I was like, "Well, I was reading a lot of books, so um, I was like, okay." I drove there, bought it, I read it, and I was like, "This is some crazy bullshit," right? But then I was like, wait, some of it made sense, and I was like, I read it the whole thing over again. Not right away, but it took time, It took a little time for me to do it again. And then at some point I read it. I was like, some of the things got to me, and I read it one more time, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy because it is true. It's true. Now that I'm older and I've been through, and here's the book, right? Here's the book. I have it right here for proof that I have it. And I read, like, what is it? 400, 300, 400 pages. And this is it was published in 1991. And that's when that's when I first started college, right? And I did graduate, by the way. um um okay, so here's one of the titles. Okay, that's chapter 2, right? um and I've gone through this before. Chapter 12, the secret government. So they're starting to get into the Illuminati right now. um Hold on, let me turn my light on. It's starting to get dark here. Sorry. Okay. So I know it might be boring for some people because they've heard me talk about this before. And that's okay. I mean, um here's here's one of them that I had no clue what they were talking about. What does it say? Big Brother's coming. Revealed secret plan to tag every man, woman, and child. Look at that picture. That's the jab. That's vaccines that are coming. Look at this. They were planning this. They've been planning this for a long time. Let's see. I know there's more, but I didn't. Yeah, I beat some of it out. Okay. Well, this is something. It's called Area 51, right? So this is like the up. I don't know what it is, a helicopter or whatever, that's filming it. So see what it says. I'll read. I might, if there's something about it, I'll read it. In my opinion, okay. Well, I'm not gonna read the whole thing because it's gonna take a long time. Um, okay. So here's another one, and I've never actually shown this. Right. So this is like whatever you want to call it, a UFO, and it says that um it was built by Northrop McDonnell Douglas and General Electric, stored at Norton AFB and Edward AFB, files out of Area 51. So there it is. They Area 51 built this. There are no UFOs. There is no outer space. It's all been a psychological operation. I think I heard that. I don't know. I think I don't know where I heard it, but I've heard it many times, by the way, that there's some sort of rock that's going to hit this earth and we're all going to die. They've done that for since I was like a kid, and I could and when I used to watch the news, which I don't, but they're still doing it. So what I tell people is stop watching the news because it's going to control your mind. Just like, you know, we don't live listen, listen to me for a second. I've made a video. I'm going to post the link here. Let me give me a chance to go into my YouTube channel while I'm live, and I'll post the link to so you can watch it because one of the things that I did was it was a full moon by where I live, so you can see it's better if I do it this way because you can see the visual of of hold on, I'm getting it up here real quick. Oh, there it is. Okay. So let me check it out. All right. Here, there it is. I found it. So there's the link. Um and I it was like 3 a.m. or whatever it was. I was at that time I was working a night shift, or I was used to working a night shift. And so I was up, I got up and I was trying to sleep and I looked out my window and I saw a full moon and I was like, I gotta film this. And um, you know, it was like about, I don't know, it was a little cold for me, but it's about 50 degrees. But watch if you watch that video that I made, it explains everything, or the way I think of it. Uh, it explains how we don't live on a ball. We don't that moon. I'll say it live right now. That moon is local. It was within the clouds, right? A lot of people, oh, werewolves and all that, and people are scared of it. There, people shouldn't be scared of it. It's part of uh, the creation of where we live. One of the things that I said in that video was that um, the sun, the heliocentric model tells us that the sun is 93 million 93 million miles away. And if the sun is 93 million miles away and they tell us that the excuse me, well, let me get, I need some, uh, they tell us that it's 93 million miles away, and then they tell us that that the moon is 240 500,000 miles away. How does the lunar eclipse happen? That math doesn't makes any logical sense. Both the moon and the sun are local. They are local. That's why they can align that way. I don't who know what do we how do we know what the moon is made of? Because we've never been on the moon. That's another psyop. You can't land on the moon. The moon, that's why they call it the moonlight. it's something special. Um, it I mean, there's so many things that are crazy, man. That they're crazy because they people believe in this shit because they can't think for themselves anymore. They cannot think for themselves anymore. Let me repeat that again. They can't think for themselves anymore because they're so indoctrinated and brainwashed by the news and whatever educational system that they've been in. I have an education. So what? I broke out of it. It's hard to break out of it. That's the thing. And they start them when you're a kid. When you're a kid, you go to school to get schooled. My first language was Spanish. When I went to school, I learned English because I was with a lot of white, and it was mostly white people and English speaking people. Whatever. Cool. I did it. I graduated every single eight, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, whatever. I'm not gonna go through the whole numbers. But at some point I was like, I mean, at some point you have to go back to being a human being and have common sense. You have to go back to having common sense. And that's basically that's what I do now. Like let me go. I don't even know why I'm going to say this because hopefully people who watch this don't do these sort of things, but don't kill people. That's my common sense. Don't rob anybody. Common sense. Don't cheat on your wife. Don't cheat on your girlfriend. Common sense. Um, I mean, I can go through all these all over again, but to me, that's my common sense. And common sense, do the right thing or try to do the right thing. Nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes in my life within myself, but I've never done any of those violent things to anyone. But that's it. Go back to your common sense. And I'm very sure that a lot of people that watch my lives or that watch my channel understand it, and they hopefully do the same thing or have gone through similar things. Uh, excuse me, I'm trying to clear my throat. So, um, yeah. So, and that's part of what my channel or my the description and the title that I put in is conversation and communication. So if you want to have a conversation with me or anybody else, doesn't have to be with me. Anybody else, um, have a conversation, which means you talk and then I can respond, or the other person can respond, or I can talk and you can respond. Now, if you disagree, Cool. What? That's never that's happened to me a lot in my life. So what? There's nothing wrong with that. But don't talk for 2 hours and not ask if I'm still there. You know, I mean, if somebody talked for 2 hours, then it's like I guess we're not having a conversation anymore. It's just about you. And my suggestion is if if you can't if you need to talk for 2 hours with someone else uh on the phone, then do your own live stream and do what I'm doing. And I could talk for 2 hours. I don't want to. I can. I've done it. But that's okay. So the point I'm trying to make is if you want to have any kind of good relationship, whether it's a friendship or a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want, have a conversation. Don't always let it be about you. Okay? That's the point I'm trying to make with this live stream. Even though I've spoken out about a lot of truths so far. And I mean, I don't really have to read this book anymore, but I'm trying to give examples of some of the things that I read that are happening right now, that have been happening, and that are going to continue to happen. So don't, it's if you vote for Trump, I don't care. If you vote for Democrats, Republicans, I don't care. A lot of people hate Trump. And I can understand why, though. I'll talk about this for a bit. I can understand why because um, every time he goes in office, wait, where's that fucking dollar bill? I had a dollar. Oh, here it is. What's that term that they use on this dollar bill? Here, I'm gonna show you what I have. So something about it's basically um about creating what is it? Shoot, I should have looked it up before. Um some it's in a different language. But basically, this dollar bill is a lot of there's a lot of symbology about creating chaos to create order. And that's what's happening right now. And I can tell you that I'm experiencing it, not me because I'm an American, right? I was born here in America. So I don't have to worry about this whole um, immigration, ICE, or whatever you want to call it, thing that's happening where cops and people are stopping anyone and demanding ID and all that to make sure they're legally to be here. Uh, I'm telling you something. There's so many. Christopher Columbus was the first illegal. If you want to go that far back, when this supposedly country was born, it wasn't born. People were living here already. They want to call them the Native Americans. They were just indigenous people living off the land. That's it. And then Christopher Columbus and everyone from whoever he brought over from uh, from England, um, killed like 80% of all of them off to take over the land. And they went to war over people that weren't doing anything wrong to them. They came over to take control. And you know what? To take control, and that's your purpose, your psychotic, narcissistic person, uh, to do it, then you kill, right? That's what he did. So I don't understand this whole thing that's happening. I don't vote, but I don't. It's happening here because my mother, I'll tell you this, my mother is from Mexico, right? But she's a legal citizen. She's been a legal citizen for years. And now she's scared. So she carries her passport with her. And I'm like, "What, why are you doing that?" And she said, "Because of Trump." And I was like, "This guy's crazy, man. He's causing chaos to whatever he thinks is order." That's what the dollar said. He's an Illuminati for sure. He's creating chaos right now. And and it's not just him. He can't do it by himself. He has his followers and his team to do it. However, what, thousands, hundred thousands of people doing it? Police, millions. Um, he's definitely an Illuminati, and he is creating chaos, and he's doing the exact same thing that Freemasonry's Freemason uh, Freemasons do in the Illuminati. They say create chaos to create order. So that's what the mentality that they have. Create chaos to maintain order. In what order? Your order. It's I don't know. It's hard for me to to think about this, but it has to be talked about because some people don't want to listen. Some people, um, you know, for whatever reason, they just when you become political, then like what I've said in the past, when you become political and you're, what do they say, right wing or left wing, it creates a divide because then, oh, you voted for this Democrat. I vote. Sorry. I voted for this Republican, and then they fight about whichever side they want. It's almost like a civil war going on within America. You know, if you say you're liberal, then people laugh at you, right? I've seen that before, and because then you're like you you have to vote one way or the other, and there's so many subjects that are out there that you can say, well, this one's right, this one's wrong, this one's right, and um, and it's you know I'm not gonna go to through through all of them, but I know a lot of them, and um, you know, I can't. I have one in my mind, but I don't want to go through it because it does create a lot of controversy. Um, I'll go ahead and do it. Abortion, right? Like abortion, like it's a woman's choice, right? It's their choice, right? When is that um, child um, born, right? When is that child born? When was I born? I'll say it this way. When was I born? I was born in my mother's womb because my father and my mother had sex, right? And the sperm went into her egg. And I was I was to me, I was born right there because of the conception of the mother and the father uh you know having sex, whatever. And um then that's when I was born. And I know that women, I think nowadays, I think women can take pills to abort that baby real quick, or that whatever they call it, just a cell compilation. No, it's the sperm went into the egg. I mean, what else is there? Third trimester, then the baby's like, what is it? It's almost a full blown baby, and then they abort it because what? It's okay. Adopt. It's okay to adopt. I know it's a controversial topic conversation, but for me, abortion is bullshit. You really shouldn't. There's other options. Now, if there's like rape, you can still adopt, right? And then hopefully they find that rapist and send him to jail, or her. Well, it's a guy, right? So if it's let's say if it's a kid, like a 12 or 13-year old that gets raped, um then I would say, I don't know. That one's a tricky one. Um that one's I can't say that one. I think that 13-year-old, um she was raped, then she should find her um perpetrator and get him arrested. And then if she knows who her mother or father is, they can decide. Otherwise, I really don't agree with abortion. I mean, I know it's a controversial subject and people get angry over it. It's a woman's choice, it's a woman's body, right? But it's still a baby. Does that baby have a choice? No. You took that baby's choice away. That's simple for me. I mean, come on, man. I know it's a controversial subject, but um, it's got to be talked about sometimes. And I've never actually talked about it on my live stream, but I know about all these things, or I know my own thoughts and my own feelings about it. I thought about it, and abortion is wrong. um, and there's abortion clinics everywhere, you know, and the reason why is because of the reasons I described, and they get paid. They're getting paid for it. So they're like, "Well, we're getting paid, so let's do it." So, come on. Really? Shit, I'm getting freaking angry. Um this brings up something else that I've talked about many times, and I'll go through it again, and let's see if my channel stays up and doesn't get suspended for 30 days. I've got suspended for 30 days for this specific subject. Vaccines, the pharmaceutical business. Let's call it a business. It's a pharmaceutical business. Now, when you're sick, you want to get cured, right? There's no cure. When you take medication from the pharmaceutical business, you just relieve the symptoms for a while. Like when you take aspirin or Advil or whatever you buy, you just relieve the symptoms for what, 4, 5, 6 hours? Then you're sick again. They want you to keep buying. They want you to keep buying their medication, like vaccines. I remember when the whole COVID thing was going on, and I would go to a store called Jewel, and um, they had it was this is crazy. It's crazy to me. I don't know if it's to you or anybody else, but they had a big banner when I was going in. They had a big banner that said free flu excuse me, free flu shots, and they would give you 10% off if you take it for anything you buy. And I was like, damn, they're going deep with this. They're paying uh market stores for this shit. And when I went in there and I went in there and somebody asked me, do you want to take a flu shot? And I said, okay, I'll take the flu shot if you can tell me what the ingredients are in there. They didn't know. And I was like, I'll take it, but you have to tell me what the ingredients are. And that person started typing, right? She started typing and researched it, and I was like, what, you don't know what they are and you're offering it to me? I was like, this is crazy, man. And I said, you know what? If you don't know what it is and you have to type it out and give me a hard copy of a print of what you just Googled, I'm not going to take it. You know what's in there? Aborted babies' blood, mercury in small doses. And Um, I remember, and this is one of my things that got my channel suspended because I was talking about that. And there's so many um toxic things in there. And um, I remember taking the flu shot like in I think it was around 2000. 2008, 2010, whatever. And it was a flu shot, and I still got the flu. So what what's the purpose? And I had to pay for it. So and the government is now, or at some point they started saying, uh it's free, just take it. Then COVID came out, and they started mandating vaccines with the mask. And when they started doing that, then not everyone, but a lot of people started taking the vaccines, and it was like it's gonna help me not get this so-called COVID virus. I never got the COVID virus, and there's many times that I walked into a store, ask, nobody said shit. So it was all a big psychological operation. So anyway, I went on a rant a bit, um but I want to go back to conversation and communication. So um if you have a girlfriend, or a boyfriend, whoever you are, or just a friend, have a conversation. That's called communication, and that's what a good friendship. Like I wouldn't have a girlfriend again unless we had a good conversation, or a good communication together. If we don't, then I just enjoy being single for that reason. So anyway, think about that. And I talked about a lot of different subjects, but the most important thing is your relationships within your own circle of people, that or friendships. And I'll call them friendships because if your mother or father is a friend, then that's a friendship. Um, so um, so just listen. I guess maybe that's a better word. Learn how to listen and understand each other. If you can't, leave, or um, communicate more and try to understand each other better. To say I was At least say I was wrong, or something along those lines. And if you can do that, then your relationship, friendship, whatever it is, will grow. So, Melissa, if you're in here, if you're watching, one of the reasons that I I went live, but I went live for you can I anyone can watch this live, can see that I went through a lot of different subjects. So, um, Melissa, if you want to talk again, I'm cool with that. So I'm gonna end the live with this. Take care, all.